the living water, the living water. We're just pretty much referencing the word and the way of life, because he is the only way. Praise God.
Main point here is that this is our father, and we're both sons here. I'm 16.
I am 14.
Yeah.
It's like you are me and I am you, and Jesus does always say that in a way like, if you've seen me, you've seen my Father. Welcome everyone to The Only Way. My name is Jason.
Okay, my name is Jason Jr.
My name is Jaden.
And today is going to be our first podcast ever. It's going to be full of different personalities and inspirations, I hope, how we even came about starting something like this. So, sit back and hear us out. Definitely grab a snack and grab your water, because
Yep, got water here.
you might need that. The living water, and we're gonna have a lot of you might hear a lot of references back to the word, because at the end of the day, how we started this was because of the word and our Lord Jesus Christ. We're just pretty much referencing the word and the way of life, because he is the only way. Praise God. So, guys,
I think to start, a main point here is that this is our dad, this is our father, and we're both sons here. I'm 16.
Let's get the mic there, baby.
I am 14.
Yeah. So
And I'm just, I'm an older man.
He's our dad, okay? But that's what makes us unique, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Is see, here's the thing, the age is there's a difference in the age, right? But I don't feel much of a difference when I'm around them, because I feel like we're included. It's all an included picture here. Wherever we go, we shine together, and we're gonna talk about that, because it goes to show that when you collaborate with your kids, and you do relatable things, like there is no there's no moment that you're like blur. Like, it's like you are me and I am you, and Jesus does always say that in a way like, if you've seen me, you've seen my Father. He references his the Father. So that's how I feel this relationship is. Like, if you see my son, you see me. And same way, like in the way we do so much, we all got different personalities, but at the end of the day, we always meet right there, but
I think the whole point of this episode is to talk about the bond and how we came to that, because a few years ago we didn't really have the same bond we have now. This bond that we have now is a lot stronger, to the point where, like, the gym that we go to now, like, people you can say they envy us. Like, they talk to us and they say, "Oh, I wish I had what you had." And to be honest, another point of this podcast is to talk about what inspired us, and that is a key point as well.
I totally agree with what you're saying. And you know what? Let me throw the mic to Jaden over here, because he had a lot to say too.
Yeah, Jaden.
What do you have to say about that? Because I feel like you started.
What do you think inspired us?
It all started too with you.
Wow, so. I mean, I think definitely like the gym definitely brought us a lot closer, especially how the gym that we go to now, it's all three of us, and it wasn't ever like that. We weren't all three of us. And the gym is something we all love. We all like it, so that's something we share together. And there's many other things that we also share together, but I feel like the gym definitely created a big bond. Cause, if we didn't go to the gym together, at least I don't think we would have had such a great bond we have now. So
yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, we all do different things, like, I was always into the gym, and the gym was my way of like escaping, and like, what do you mean escaping? Well, escaping the norm of everybody's routine, what we do when we're home or we're at work. Some of us need an outlet, and my outlet was the gym. And I've always done it by myself. It's always been a self thing, a self-care. And, one day I was like, let me take my kid. And it all started with Jaden. I was just thinking of him and how he had so much potential. He has potential. We were always working out at home, but I saw how he just wanted to do more. And I remember when I was young, I didn't have the ability to do more. It was always what I had was what I had, and I wanted to give them more than what I had. So bringing them to the gym was my way of connecting with my son, and I saw how cool it was, but I also saw how sometimes it was like it kind of held me back because I was always used to just being me. And for the first time in my life, I realized that, it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's always been about them. And it's the same way, the way Jesus spoke. Jesus always spoke like it was always not about him. It was about, us. And everything he mentioned, it was always about us. Like, it wasn't about him. It was more about him sacrificing himself, for us, So, but I was always, like I said, my naive self, it was always like self. And when I realized that, my son wanted to grow, but he needed my help, it was like, wow, I need to kind of step back and kind of, coach. And it's like, here I am coaching at home. I'm always the father, right? I'm always telling them what to do, how to do this, how to do that. But when we were outside, it was like, especially somewhere I love going to, it was like, you got that, right? Yeah, you're fine. No, it's not even, it's more like they need you more, So, I mean, that's just, to me, that's how my bond, got a little bit stronger that way. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago when we talked about like patience, and I acknowledged him, my father, for being a patient father, for allowing himself to teach us his ways in the gym. Like, the gym is just one example, of course, but to teach us like his way of how to do stuff. Because when I started after Jaden. They started like in April this year. I started 3 months after, right after we moved into this house. In fact, I started going to them to the gym, and I had no idea what to do. And like for like few months, 2 months, like I knew what to do with the dumbbells, 'cause I did that at home. But like the cables, I had no idea. Like back day, I had no idea what to do. Like I was just there. I was following them because I had no idea what to do. As I said again, but
Strong.
yeah, I acknowledge him for that. Like, I appreciate and I look up to that, and that's something I want to also have, like, that patience to acknowledge the fact that, one, it's not about you, and two, you're trying to, like, help your son get to a point where, like, we are now, where I don't have to be around him all the time, like, to do a workout, or to do back day, or to do all these, like, arm day. Arm and back day were my, like, two least, like my 2 weak points, 'cause I had no idea what to do. Because it was just cables.
It's like, what am I doing again?
Yeah.
And like, people would, so, we went through a big change this summer, where we, like, God allowed for us to seize an opportunity in moving into a different area, and we were able to, like, move out. And at first it was kind of like chaotic, because change is definitely something hard to cope with, especially when it's like quick change, when it's like, all right, pack your bags, we got an opportunity, let's make it happen. It's definitely, like, sometimes people take time, and sometimes you don't have time. Sometimes like, what time, you have to just make it work. And God puts you in moments where you're uncomfortable. The only way that God can kind of, like, use you in a way where, as though it's impactful, is to put you in a place where you're not comfortable, where where now, you know, you have to kind of like make it work. And how do you make it work, son? You just got to do it. You just got to go with the flow. And that's what happened. You know, we moved into a new area, and we decided to bring it all together. And you know, back to Jason's point, is to like, you know, going somewhere like the gym, without even knowing that was going to create a bond that we're doing right. Like, you know, we're referencing something right now, a bond that is like, I didn't know that we were going to be doing something like this, but like, hey, he recommended this whole podcast thing, and it's like, oh, okay. And but it took steps to get to that point. And when we wind up going to the gym, many people there, you know, they started like recognizing, you know, like, wait a minute, who are those guys? Those guys are kind of cool. Like who are they? And it was like, hey, are those your sons? And it's like, yeah. Wow, like, yo, I wish I had a relationship like that with my kids. You don't really see many dads, you know, taking their kids to the gym and actually like having a good time with their kids, you know. Like at first it was kind of like, all right guys, you know, you guys need to do your thing, you know, and I'm gonna go do my, again, you know, you forget because we're human, right? We're not perfect, and I certainly am not perfect. And you know, I kind of like I'm in a new gym, and it's like my new playground, so I want to go mess with this dumbbell or this set and do it all alone. And again, it's not the way. It's you have to hold hands. You have to hold hands. You have to show them how to be, you know, how to be who they're supposed to be, right? And then if they want to do their stuff alone, then they might as well, you know, let them breathe. We all need some room, right? We all need some room for improvement, growth. So the only way to find out is when you're on your own. But we always got to come back. And when we were, well, you know what, Jaden, do you have anything to put to that? Because I don't want to take up the whole entire mic session right here. You know.
Well, I mean, I guess where I could, you know, how you guys kind of explained, like, you know, where it started for me working out. I remember just one day, you know, I was kind of sick and tired of coming home from school and just, you know, sitting down on the steps and eating pizza rolls for like an hour. You know, just
a whole year, right?
Yeah, it was a long time. I was doing that, and in my 8th grade year, you know, and also, I mean, it's not that we weren't working out, because me and him were doing, you know, some little workouts, you know, nothing with, you know, just more like body workouts. And you know, one day I came home and I was like, man, I'm sick and tired of just sitting around, just, you know, eating but not, you know, burning what I was eating, or just sweating, you know, any of that. And one day I came home and I was like, I'm gonna go down in our basement and I'm gonna work out with you know, dumbbells and just actual weights. And I mainly learned everything off of, you know, him, from, you know, we worked out from a couple times, you know, in the basement with him, so he kind of, you know, taught us a lot. But that's mainly where it started for me. That was, I don't know, maybe like October, I want to say. And I was working out in our basement for months straight until he one day he just decided to take me to the gym with him, and we went to the gym. And I mean, from there I kind of learned everything I know now. And then, you know, now where we are is, now we all know everything about the gym. But yeah, that's how it started for me mainly.
I can add on to what he said, to what Jaden said. So yeah, like he said in the beginning, we were just doing, you know, the 10-minute full body workouts. You search up on YouTube, all that stuff. We only worked out for like 10 minutes. Like we were still like waking up at like 5 a.m. to work out, which I give us credit for that, for being young, waking up like the same time my dad is. In fact, sometimes we woke up like 10 minutes before him just to work out. And like, I remember sitting down in the living room on the mats and drinking our little water like this, and he would walk past, go make his like food or something, get ready for his workout. And I remember that. And then what I can remember for Jaden, what started him from the gym, we went to a trip to Wildwood, in fact, and we went to the gym
on
there.
his birthday.
Yeah, on his birthday. We went to the gym there because it was free. It came with the apartment.
Yep.
And then the next day, this dude wanted to just buy a membership and start going to the gym. I wasn't able to come, nor did I want to at the time. I was kind of comfortable with working out in the basement. Like I was doing weight movements. I started after Jaden, but I was doing weight movements in the basement. But I wasn't with the gym. They went to the gym, and then a couple months down the line when we moved, I remember this. We woke up. It was on June, like probably 20th. We woke up and Jaden and Dad was like, "Oh, let's go to the gym, cause we gotta wake out." It was like 6 a.m. And Jaden was like, "JJ coming?" He said that, and like that is the moment where it came. Like I was never thinking about going to the gym until he said that. That day I didn't even want to go. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going." I was kind of expecting to just work out at home, but that's where like it all started, and that was June, and now we're in October.
Yep.
So we
Yeah.
started down there to get here.
Yeah, around it's crazy to think because around this time last year, this is when I started working out. I remember that. I remember another key point of why I even started too is because you know a lot of people at my school were also going to the gym, and I was kind of like, dang, like I'm kind of the only one, like I kind of felt like I was the only one not really like working out. I was the only one not going to the gym, but then it clicked to me. I was like, wait a minute, I kind of have a whole gym in my basement, and that's what started too. And I also want to say this too, not to take any credit, but just to explain, I guess more in depth is when one day it was in maybe it was March, I don't know. All I know, maybe it was in April, but I remember I came home one day, I put on my clothes to go work out, and he was in the bathroom, and I was like, and I was like, yo, you know what, like. I think we got out of school early that day too, and they were going somewhere, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna tell Jay, let's go work out together. I don't know if you remember that, but I was like, I'm gonna tell Jay, let's work out together, because I was like, I love the gym, or I love working out so much, and it's something that made me really happy. So I'm like, I can only imagine how it's gonna make him happy, and I started with I told him like let's go work out together, and we did it. And I remember, I don't know, this goes to show how much patience he has, because I don't know if you remember this, but like we worked out together for a day, and then the next day, I worked out with myself, instead of working out with him again, because I was like, I thought to myself, like, dang, it took long. We did I forgot what we did that.
I think it was shoulders.
Was it? It was shoulders.
That was the first one I remember.
And I was like, I remember the next day, I'm like, it was it was legs the next day, and I was like, dude, that shoulders day took forever. Like that means every day working out is gonna take forever if I keep on going out. And the thing is, like, he took it on his own hands, so it'll be like, because one day, from doing one day of shoulders, from there he started working out in the basement, and he would do that every morning. But that's why it goes to show how much patience he has, because when he was teaching us about the gym, he could easily have been like, oh, let's just take it too long. I can't keep teaching them everything, and I kind of lost my patience. I'm like, yo, I just want to kind of work out for like an hour and and call it a day. But yeah, that's.
And like, it's patience is definitely something that is kind of hard to kind of acquire, because not every one of us have patience. And I certainly, like I said, for so many years I was always doing my own thing, and now I have my sons, they're with me. At first it was like, were people going to judge me? Were people going to, why do you have your kids doing this? And you know what? I learned that, and like throughout my time of like showing them how to, like, some of us parents kind of like to hold back our kids. We kind of like to huddle with them and keep them under our arms, right, for a very long time. I know moms are like that. They're really, really tight with their kids. And if the parent cares, right, if the parent cares, you're going to notice how like, don't go there, like that's how it was for me growing up. It was always like, I was always told what to do and what I can't do. And I realized that at the gym, like, I'm not there to hold them back. I want them to grow. I want them to grow their own way, right? And I don't want them to hold me back, So it was more like a mutual respect. Like, this is your space and this is my space. And like, if you need me, I'm always here. And it wasn't like I was enforcing anything. I was more like letting them do them. And there were times, like that one time where the guy this guy at the gym, told him how to squat, and that was, this guy told him how to squat a different way, not that the way he was doing it was bad. Because again, like we need feedback. Feedback is very, very important. Feedback is the only way we're gonna know whether we're doing something right or we're doing something wrong. And I grew up, getting feedback, and I'm giving them feedback. So this guy, complete stranger, gives him feedback, and then he tells me, like, Dad, I don't know if I'm gonna do it that way. Like, I like my way, and I told him, well, then do it your way. And then the guy comes up to me and he says, I was just giving your son, some pointers, and I was cool with that. And I think he also was like, like he'd be pushing some weight and stuff like that. And I fooled around and said, well, I told him to be careful because my insurance, right? My insurance is gonna kick in. And I'm gonna have to use it because he's gonna get hurt. And then we were just laughing. But I told him at the end of the day, I want him to learn. Like he's gonna have to learn. Like just like I did, we're gonna have to fall. We're gonna fall. The righteous fell 7 times, and then like people will still judge him. People will still judge us. Like whether we're following God's path, right? Or like if we're following God's path, let me revert to following God's path, the righteous path, right? We're gonna be judged 100 times more than the person who's not following no path, because that's just the way it is, The road that we are paved to go is going to be a really long one, and it's going to be a very critical one, especially for someone who's out here trying to do something good, So I told the man, I was like, I'm letting him do him. Like he's going to have to learn, right? If he hurts himself, well then I'm here to pick him up. That's basically what I'm here for, is to help him pick. I'm gonna give him exactly what he needs to grow. And sometimes you gotta let your kids kind of do their thing so that when they come to you, it's genuine. It's not like, hey, follow me. Like sometimes that's good too, but you can't really do that, especially in today's world. You gotta let them just do them, And then when they come to you, it's organic. That's the key word, organic.
I want to continue on what he said about people are always going to judge you, and how like life is ultimately at the end of the day it's a path of judgment. It's just a road of judgment. Like constructive criticism is the only way you're going to grow. And what stood out to me there is that this guy who came up to Jaden, he could have came up with good intentions, but he also could have came up with like, yo, this kid is squatting more weight than I am. I have to tell him something. I have to say something.
Yep.
Because he felt envy. When you might not be at the top of your mountain, but you might be at the top of someone else's mountain, and that's probably what this guy felt. And even though he came out to be like a friend, a nice guy, at the time that's probably what he was like. Yo, this kid is squatting more. Like squatting 3 plays a week, squatting more weight than I am. Like, I can't even do that, so I gotta teach him, show him something, like, that's probably what this guy felt like. And we took it, both ways. We took it as like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, and at the end of the day, we became friends with this guy. Like, we see him every once in a while.
Yeah.
We became friends, so we didn't do anything wrong. We don't know his intentions, but, yeah, I think that's a good point to mention, how you're always gonna get judged no matter how good you're doing. Like people do not want you to be better than them. They want you to do good though, but not better than them. And when they see that, they have to say something.
Going back to how people view you, you don't really know what anyone's interaction with you is either genuine or not, right? And the key word, like I had mentioned earlier, organic. Like you want things to be natural, right? You want things to just like, you don't really want to work hard for a conversation that's supposed to just be like genuine. And that's how I am with them. And I realized that as a father, especially at the gym where I felt like I was exposed, because it was like, it's not just me anymore, you know, I have to watch over them. And if I see something going on, especially in the public, you know, where I have my kids, you know, out there in the public, pretty much, I got to jump in and be father, right? But sometimes, you know, you you just have to let them, you know, engage with people, right? And I'm pretty happy that they're actually, you know, meeting new people, and they're not kids, like they're meeting grown men, you know, some that are older than me, and we are like just I just sit back and I'm like, wow, like that's pretty cool. And then I'm learning something through each conversation that they're having with these other guys, because I'll show up and they'll be like, oh, your dad, yo, your kids, they're amazing. Like I don't see no one else waking up as early as they are to come out here with you and put in the grind right here in the morning before they start their day. But they're able to talk to them. They're able to talk and defend themselves. They're able to hold up a conversation on their own, and that's exactly what I wanted for them to have anyway. You know, I wanted them, because that is something you can't teach. It has to just it has to come to them natural. But they also have to kind of see it in you, you know, from the beginning, and that's how I've always been. Like I can be an introvert at times, but I can also be what is that, an extrovert? I could also be an extrovert, you know, especially when it comes to meeting new people and just having a good conversation. And that's the gym was actually the place where we kind of like found our way to God, you know, and like I'm gonna jump on that subject because that one is a strong one, you know, because we always believed, but we just you know, the action wasn't into play. And out of every place you would go, right, the gym out of all places was the place that actually kind of nurtured us into the word, where we're actually doing a lot more than just talking about the word. How about that? But you got anything to say about that, Jaden? Like your interaction with the gentleman who came up to you telling you about the squatting?
Like, what did you think?
Yeah, like how did you feel about that?
Oh, you know.
'Cause I said a little bit about how you felt.
Like, you didn't know this guy. He
Yeah,
just came
and you
up
didn't
with
know
it.
this guy.
Yeah. I mean, well, one of them I knew, which was
Mike.
Mike. Yeah. Well, but then the other one. To bring it off.
Jamal was his name.
How did I feel?
He's not just a guy.
Well,
man.
honestly, you know, I was just trying to get my set in. You know, I was just trying to do my thing. You know, and it was a little bit weird. You know, you know, I had to take off you know, some weight so they could show me or whatever. But I mean, you know, I didn't take it anyways, and you know, I just kind of was just like, oh, you know, this is just how you know, he squats. I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever I was doing was working, because I'm pretty sure I squatted more than him. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's an advice that, you know, he gave me, and he's an older guy too. So, you know, whatever advice he gave me, you know, must have worked for him. So, you know, he's not, you know, injured or anything like that. So the advice he gave me was just, you know, I didn't take it any type of way. But yeah, I was doing my thing, and he just randomly come up to me and told me how he squats, and yeah, but and I was just so used to squatting. The way he saw me squatting is, and he even said it too, is because, like, you know, I was so used to squatting with a free bar, you know, which is different from a Smith. So that's why he just showed me how to do it on a Smith, I guess.
But like you've always been like the way he's channeling his mind, his mental, to be able to push more. Not many have that, and I've always been that way. You know, raising them that they can do more. They can do more. Like I've always, you know, told them that the only wall that you have is the wall that you built, and if you're content and you're happy with the wall you built, and you don't want to build a solid foundation, because like one wall is not enough, just like one door is not enough, you know. There's going to be many doors, and those doors are full of opportunities. Sometimes they may be, you know, bad opportunities, but how do you know unless you try? And even I had to kind of take that advice myself, because for so long, my son would tell me, Dad, you could bench more than this. Dad, you could do this. You could do that.
This dude was mocking me. He was always doing the same way, and I'm over here like, this dude knows he could do all this. I don't know why he's not. But
Like, I've always I was holding myself back, and I kind of like I needed that again. I needed that confidence. And having them there kind of like pushed me, because it was one day where like out of the blue, like something I would never do, because when I was always alone, it was I'm just comfortable. I'm just doing this to just do this and then go back home. But one day, he was telling me like, Dad, come on, man, you just did this like it was nothing. Add more to this. And the next thing you know, I did, and now I have a whole group session of many men coming up to me talking about, dude, what did you just do? Are you mad? How did you do this? Like, what? And like I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what it was that day. It was just special.
They were telling him to do more.
Yeah, like they were really.
They made him go up like 15 more pounds. Yeah.
I listen, and was I ready for it? I wasn't. I was not ready for it. But guess who was ready for it? God was. God was. And that was an opportunity right there for me to kind of revert back to where my strength is coming from. It's not coming from my own understanding. It's coming from His. And in the Bible, I learned a lot about how when you do things with your limitation, with your understanding, you're gonna be you're already in the path of like not succeeding. Because your limitations are much greater, than what God gives you, because God provides for you an unlimited amount of resources, that we kind of never tap into, because we're so leveled to just only look down here, when the sky is where we should be, aiming for. And we say this a lot, and it can be cliche, where we say the sky is the limit, but the sky is not just where you look up to, because there's a Psalm 90, chapter 90, verse 2, where it says, before thou brought forth the mountains, He formed the earth and the universe to be even and everlasting to everlasting. So when He references the universe, there's no ending to the universe. The universe is beyond our imagination. Like, it goes furthermore than what you can even grasp. So again, the only limitation we put in front of us is what we put in front of us. It's our problem, and it's our goal to knock down these walls. And I am trying my best to knock down generations of my family by helping them understand that there's more past this door, and there's more past this door, and I'm just the beginning, but I'm certainly not the end. So
what stuck to me there was, sky's the limit, the cliche advice. Even though it's like, you hear it from everybody, I feel like the belief we have, the belief in what we can do is really strong. Like, if we believe we can do something, it doesn't mean that it's always achievable. But on the contrary, if we don't believe we can do something, then if we have no hope in what we're doing, then it means it's impossible. For us anyways. We won't be able to do it. Someone else will. What we wanted to do, someone else will. And that's where the sky's the limit. That's where it breaks down to. We need to believe that we can do anything that we want to do, because if we don't believe, it just won't happen. And once again, by us. It won't happen by us. Maybe I don't believe I can do something, and Jaden can do it himself, and then what am I going to feel? I'm going to feel envy for that, for not believing. So it's the power of belief is really strong. We need to believe that we can do anything. Yeah.
And like can I can attest to that by saying that when I started seeing how the how God was working with us, God was pretty much putting a go here, a go here. It was like little baby steps, and we were crunching them, and it was like now that my mind is open to understanding, like how this is just not a coincidence. This is this is not a coincidence, and this is not a mistake. This is real. This is happening right now in front of you. This is happening. And this is my work, Not my work, but his. And you have two options, It's either you acknowledge it, for who he is, or you don't acknowledge it and you become naive and closed-minded, like the many of us who walk around, the ground that we serve on, pretty much looking down, and never really seeing potential. And I was tired of that. I was tired of always thinking like, I make my choices, I make my steps, and what a coincidence, or like I swear that's not like we were not meant to talk like that. We were meant for more. And I noticed that God was working really, really, really hard on us. And like I said, we moved out. We came to a new neighborhood where we didn't know anybody. We did it all by the grace of God. We did it all by the grace of God. And we saw many things happen in front of us that we had to kind of like think on our feet. And became much more wiser. Like the scripture says over here in Proverbs chapter 3 verse 35, the wise will inherit the glory, and shame is for the promotion of fools. So that scripture spoke to me because I became wise, and the wiser I became because I became a better father, by listening to what they had to say to me, by allowing for them to figure things out, but also being there for them because they needed me. I was becoming a much more wiser father, and in that sense, I was inheriting much more. I was inheriting beautiful things, that not many would see because they're so stuck right here. But I was able to see the simplest things that were becoming much more open to me, and I was actually embracing it and acknowledging it, and it became what it is right now. I mean, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now, podcasting, or talking about the word. I was more about talking about other things like gaming and stuff like that. You became open to the word. Like, how did that happen? Especially at the gym.
Man, how? Oh well, I mean, I guess what happened was, one time over the summer, me and my sister, we went to our grandma's house to do like a little job thing over there. And I remember my grandma had a Bible, and it was still wrapped, so she wasn't using it because she had one for herself. And I remember I asked her, something told me to ask her if I could have it. And I remember I took it home here, and it was just in my closet, still wrapped, because I don't know why I never opened it. But I saw I think it was I saw like him start reading his Bible, my sister started reading her Bible, and I was just like, and one day I opened it and I started reading it. And for the first couple times of me reading it, I never really understood what was being said at all, because number one, I don't read, and like a lot, at least I'm not a good reader. But not only that, also I just didn't understand what was being said, because it's like it's very, if you don't like want to read it, then you're not gonna understand it. Pretty much, like if you don't feel like reading it, but you read it because you think it's good, you're not gonna understand it. And just started reading it from there, and then eventually it just got to like an everyday thing, and now the whole family has their own Bible and reading, every day. So it's just that's where it really started for me, and I started reading it, and a lot of things change. It's crazy how like when just moving from a house changed so much. I feel this whole we just have so much better of a connection is because God allowed us to. God is the only way. It's as simple as that. It's so simple. I mean, he even says it to us. The someone told you what the Bible, what it means. Basic instructions before leaving Earth, because it's so simple. But if you don't want to learn, if you don't want to get closer to God, if you don't want to hear about any of that because it you don't like hearing about it or it scares you, then you're never gonna be closer. And that's
I think, as Jaden has just said about how some people are just scared, it's like the people who are scared are people who can't think 100 years in the future. Those are the people who are scared. Because they can think maybe decades in the future. They can think about retirement. They can think about how fun it's going to be in vacation when they retire. But the people who don't follow the word, who don't follow God, the difference is the fact that they can't think 100 years in the future. They're not thinking about death. They're constantly living through life, fearing death because they haven't conquered it yet. They're not even close. So they just live life thinking about the next decade, thinking about Friday nights. That's all they're thinking about. And that's what keeps them going, because they're motivated by they don't know this, but they're motivated by the fear of death, because they're motivated to live, because you only live once, you only live once, because they're motivated by that to now go every Friday night to go to a party, or they're waiting until retirement. They're working their entire lives, waiting until they're 66 or whatever their retirement age is, just so that they can enjoy the next 40 years of their life. That now they're disabled. So it's like that life to me is not something I want to live. It's not something I know they want to live. Yeah, I don't want to think 100 years. I want to think past 1,000 years in the future. I want to think about death. I don't want to be scared by it, because I know what's gonna happen afterwards. Because now I'm becoming closer to the Word, God, the one above us. It's powerful that way. And the people who are just who are feared, who are just frightened by the fact of thinking anything above themselves, who just can't comprehend anything greater than themselves, those are the type of people that you can't just you can't change them. It's the best chance you have at when it comes to changing them, making them possibly become one of God's servants, is probably just by leading by example. You can't judge them, you can't criticize them, because the more you criticize them, they won't get closer. It does not matter. And you can criticize someone as much as you want. If you're not an authority figure to them, or if you're not someone they look up to, they will not heed your advice. They won't come close to it. So I think one thing I've said a lot in my head is lead by example, not condemnation, because the opposite is a life where everybody else will hate you, because that's just how it is.
I agree. And Matthew 6:34 says, "Don't worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow worry about itself." And there's enough problems already as there is in the day, So if we keep living life under the assumption that tomorrow is a promised day, right? We're gonna wake up tomorrow, right? We're gonna go about what we do. That's a hopeless dream. But the world wants you to always think about tomorrow. The world has you programmed in a way where as though you got to think about the bills, you got to think about your job, you got to think about school, which there's nothing wrong with those things, because we all need priorities in life. We all need to make sure that all our ducks are all lined up, and that we meet to it by the end of the month. But ultimately, in order for you to take time to kind of be one with your spirit, and just learn how to obey your father. the one above us all, right? The Almighty. You have to kind of like think about right now. You know, if we keep thinking about tomorrow, we're never gonna think about the moment that we have right now, because we're thinking about tomorrow. We're never going to give time to God. We're never going to set forth like, you know what, we got time right now to talk about God. We got time right now to talk about how my experience with God was. We will never do that, because we're always going to put something in front of us, and what we're going to put in front of us is always going to be that wall. The gym. One thing I want to say is that going to the gym is, for me, was always about working out. It wasn't about talking. I hate talking. When I go to the gym, I'm ready to, like, break down my walls, right? And the walls that I'm breaking down are walls that I break every day, and they get me nowhere. You know, fighting the brick wall is you think you're winning, but at the end of the day, you're actually deteriorating. You're breaking down. When people go to the gym and in beast mode, we're gonna break this. We're gonna bend the bar. The only thing you're breaking is your body. That's the only thing you're breaking, because an unfaithful man. I'm sorry. This is going to be Proverbs. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 25, verse 19. Confidence in an unfaithful man is like a broken tooth and a foot without a joint. So, with that being said, that's many of us. We're out here confident. We're very, very confident, but we're unfaithful. And because we're confident and unfaithful, we're breaking ourselves down. We're breaking our body down. We came naked, and we're gonna leave naked, and we're gonna be just like dust. We're gonna go right back to the same ground, right? And what are we gonna leave behind? What is our legacy? What is our legacy all about? And my legacy is them. And they're going to have kids, grandkids, right? And they're going to be fruitful and multiply, right? So we have to be confident, and we got to be faithful. There's a difference between a man who is confident and unfaithful, and a man who is confident and faithful. So the next time you go to the gym and you want to bend the bar down, what bar are you bending? Is it yourself, or is it the actual, the bar in front of you? And the bar in front of you resembles a lot of people. Many people come to that same bench and bend that bar. Many people come to that same bench and bench that same bar. Those are the same people you want to actually talk to. Those are the people you want to be able to have a moment, again, not tomorrow, right now, about something reverting back to God. And it can start just by being there, And again, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's never been about us. It's never been about us. It's always going to be about the next person. And when we were going to the gym, we would get stopped so many times to talk about this, to talk about, and it was annoying at first, but then, now that I'm closer to the word, it's now not annoying. It's more inspiring, because I'm getting to know people who actually know about God. And out of the blue, we're having a random conversation about God. And it's like, never did I once ever have a conversation about God at the gym. Never until now. So God is working with us men. He's helping us grow, but he's helping us grow in the right way. And he's getting to us from every avenue. And it's amazing, because I didn't have that before.
Yeah, definitely. When you start to follow, when you start to follow God, you'll start to look at things less as isn't like, this is annoying or I'm mad. Like you said, when people at the gym, first stopped us, that's how, I kind of looked at it. I'm pretty sure, they kind of looked at it as like, oh, like I just want to go do my thing. But you'll start to realize it's like, you'll start to be less mad when you start, the things that annoyed you before. When you start following God, you'll take the time to be like, let me not let that ruin my day, and also to put it to say this to the people who don't believe in God. I know where it comes from, as in like sometimes you don't like to hear about it, because it's like it almost scares you, and I was once there too. When we were younger, he would sometimes, once, sometimes I don't know. It's just like randomly he would talk to us about God, or he would tell us something about like the Bible, or where we go after this or whatever. And every time he would talk to us about it, it's like sometimes I'd be like, oh, like I don't want to hear about this. It's kind of like I don't want to think about this because this is scary, or I don't want to think about this because like what he's saying is like it's like, oh, like I don't want to think about that right now. And that's how the non-believers out there are also thinking, is like, oh, they don't want to hear about it because they'd rather just go on with their lives having fun, because fun is what the enemy wants you to do. Fun is what the enemy wants you to do. And there's nothing wrong with having just a little bit of fun, but you have to know when, okay, this is like I'm doing this more than I'm praying to God or reading the Bible or giving my time to God. And it's just you have to know that there is only one God, there is only one way. And when all you gotta do is just, it's never too late. How long is it gonna take you to finally see, like, dang, it's too late now. I'm facing judgment against God, and he's telling me, I didn't know him. I didn't think this was real. What do I do? Like I didn't think this was real. But it's never too late to give your life to Christ. It's never too late to accept what he did for you. And when you do, and you start, it's gonna be worth it at the end of the day, because you have to. It's, once again, that is the only way.
And like I wanted to say the what you had said about people, like people who don't believe, they don't want to hear it, right? For me, I feel like the reason why they don't want to hear it is because accountability. They, when you start talking about somebody who judges, right, and it ain't me, it ain't you, it's God. It's more about accountability, and nobody wants to be held accountable. That's one thing that a lot of us struggle with, is knowing when you're right and knowing when you're wrong, and a lot of us are wrong. We're always going to be wrong. There's so many wrong things about us that it'll be hard to cover in one day, because we're talking about a lifetime of many errors that we gotta fix, that I gotta fix on my own. And again, this is a personal relationship that we have with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and they're learning to have their own personal relationship with Jesus, in a way where it's it's amazing, because again, each and every one of us now have a Bible. I was always the only one with a Bible, and even though I was the only one with the Bible, I was reverting back to my world ways, having fun, just fun. And I've always been a simple person. That's one thing. Let's get that right. I've always been a simple person. I'm a person that likes just keeping things simple, and I don't really hang out like that. I can count how many people I talk to, which is not many. But even though I'm simple, I'm still like, I can't wait for Friday, because on Friday I'm gonna get a drink, and I'm gonna wash my problems away. And eventually, I hope that through this podcast, you will get to know each and every one of us, and we'll be able to kind of, explain a little bit more in detail about, our experiences, and how things were before we knew the Word. I mean, before we had a closer relationship with God, because we have experiences, and I had many. Where how I first started to where I'm at right now, and how I met the Lord in my younger years, and how I kind of reverted back to the world. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to revert back to where you came from in order to see what you got, in order to really understand that what you have right here is an amazing gift, and it's a gift that cannot be replaced. And you think you can replace it, but you can't take none of this with you. I want
to say something about that, about how sometimes, like, you do have to be at such a low point in order to get that motivation and, like, get to a higher point. It's like the reason most people don't get to that higher point is because, like, the low point is, like, right there, and the lowest, like, if they were below that point, they would have the motivation to go higher. But most people are just above that point. And they're just above, like, poverty. They're just above being poor. They're just above hate in their lives, like a tiny bit above that, and I feel bad for those people because those people are not in such a bad situations that they get the motivation to be like jumped, leaped forward, and that might have been where like we came from. Like we were maybe in such like we were below the lowest point, and because of that, we got the leap, we got the motivation, we got the jump to now leap forward to the highest point, and that's like motivation. It comes from being at such a low point that you just hate it now, and like that's
Yep.
something that does have to happen. You have to. You can't. You have to be at such a low point sometimes. It's like life is made of up and downs. Just like the mountains have valleys between them.
Yep.
Life is made of up and downs. You can't stay at the highest point forever. And who made the mountains and the valleys? The Almighty Lord.
Yep. We when you acknowledge how God is just much more greater than you, right? But He is also a forgiving God. How can someone much greater than you, who can literally just take away everything? He can just take away you. He can take away everything he created, which took him many days to do. He could just take it all away in one day. But He chooses to let us be. He chooses to give us time so that we can become better versions of ourselves, and also, kind of like revert back to Him and express how much He means to you, through meaningful conversations that you have all across, your life, whether at the gym, whether outside, going to the corner store, or doing something you love, right, in general, and somehow, some way, you just so happen to kind of be able to express about, God. Like when they ask you, what do you do for a living? Hey, what do I do for a living, right? I work. But then somehow that conversation can go the other way, and a lot of us choose to talk about everything else except God. We choose to talk about what we like to talk about, our comfort zone. But we gotta be okay with being uncomfortable, so that we can, talk about, what really matters right now. But there's a verse that I think you should talk about, that, and then we'll close out this session. What does Matthew 5:14 say, man? Come on, man, you got that?
5:14 says something he said, and it stuck to me. Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world," and I guess you.
No town.
Well, there's two ways you could say city or town, but the one we know is so you are the light of the world, and no town built on a hill can be hidden, and that pretty much just and that goes to anybody. You are the light of the world. It shows. It pretty much just when it says that, it's like God loves you even if you don't love Him, He still loves you, and that's something you should think about. Would you love somebody that imagine, for example, you knew a person and I guess see how I could kind of make this, but that person didn't like you. That person didn't like. That person was always being mean to you, saying bad things about you, doing bad things that you didn't like. But would you still love that person? Well, not us people probably wouldn't, because we wouldn't. It's just like we would probably hate that person. But even after all the sinful things you do, the bad things you do, God still loves you, and He still if you ask Him for forgiveness, He will still give you forgiveness, even though we don't like. We are such, when you really think about it, no matter how good you think you are, you sin every day, and He still forgives you if you ask for forgiveness. And that's why that thing, that verse, you are the light of the world, you truly are. But and it's just like, no matter who you are the light of the world. But you just have to know, like you have to think about it, like, dang, I did all these bad things, yet God still loves me, and He still loves me. And you gotta think about that sometimes, because you actually, if you're watching this, you are the light of the world. Like you really are the light of the world. You are, yeah. That's what I put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, which is definitely definitely a good way to put it. Just make sure this mic is It's definitely a good way to put it because when you're like radiant in the sense that you stand out, which you will be. You know, you're always gonna stand out like a sore thumb because you know the evil doesn't want us to be positive, right? So you will stand out. And like I mentioned before, the road that has been paved for us, which is a long one, you know, even though I walk in the valleys of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for he is with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. You'll be fine. You will be fine. And you are the light is just so bright. It's so bright, right? It's so bright that you could be far away, man. You could be a distant star, and I will still see you because you are one. We are one in the body of Christ, and because of that, we have light, and people envy that. People will envy that, but it is no room for hate. It is just room for another one. Let's bring it in. Let's bring it all in. You know, come with me. You know, there's no need for you to hate. Just come with me. Let's do this together. And that's what I learned being with them is that there is no room for me. There's room for us. There's room for us.
What and I just want to say one thing, and then it can go to
Yeah, it's fine.
But you know, kind of picture this, and this is something I saw that, you know, just almost picture this, right? You're walking on a road, you're walking on a straight line, right? With God, and you're a baby, you're walking with them, right? And then you come across this road that has a sign that says fun, and you say, and you're walking, you know, you're holding God's hand, you're walking with him, you say, oh, I want to go down this road real quick that says fun, I want to go down there, and God's like, oh, you know. But you're like, but I want to go down there. I want to see what's down there. And God says, go. He lets you go. You go down that road to fun. You've been walking down that road. You're going older. You're going from a baby to a kid to a teenager. You're going down that road of fun. And then finally, you know, you think to yourself, man, I've been on this road for so long. Is God still there? Is he still at the beginning of that road? Because I've been going down this road forever. I mean, it's been years. Is he still there? And you walk back. And he's still there, because he's always still there. He's always there for you. He's still there. You know, you might have been going that thing for you felt like forever, and then you finally go back and he's like, you're still here. You waited for me all this time, and it's because, you know, that's how much God loves you. He truly loves you. He'll wait for you forever until you finally, you know, want to come back. So that's something.
Yeah. That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I think that was an amazing way to put it. And to be honest, guys, I think this is a nice way to end it on this conversation. The way, you know, we ended with what we ended with. But I think that was a beautiful way to end it. And yeah, I think that might be. I think we might be headed towards.
Yeah.
Moments.
Should do the verse of the day. You say this.
Well, I definitely want to say this one verse. This is in the book of I can't even say this word right. Elikius, Ecclesiastes.
Very hard name.
Very hard, but again, you know, it's gonna be fluent one day. But this is chapter 7, verse 12. I believe, where it says, wisdom is defense, and money is defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to them who have it. I believe it is chapter 7, verse 12. And that one is very important to me because it gave me life. Wisdom gave me life. I hope that this video that you took the time to watch today, you know, us just being ourselves, provided for you some kind of comfort and some kind of wisdom, so that we can help you, anyone who's there. If you have anything to say, please, comment down below, and feel free to, it's a choice that you can make. If you want to sub to the channel, amazing, thank you. And you are you're now one with us. You're part of a family that is going to keep providing stuff like this to you, because we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep doing this. There is no stopping to this. This is just the beginning. So I hope to catch you guys on the flip side with more stuff like this.
And remember this one thing too. If you're watching this video and you found this video, just think about this for a second. You found it for a reason, not for no reason. It's not a coincidence. You found it because it was for a good reason, and you'll soon find out what that reason is.
Anything else, JJ?
Especially if you're still here. If you're still here, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's episode 1. No subscribers, but if you're still here, it's for a reason. That's a sign. Maybe you want to join this community, maybe you don't. It's up to you. It's still a sign. So appreciate the sign. Don't fear the call, because the call, it's calling you right now. So accept it.
You won't regret it. You will not regret it.
We're not begging for subscription.
No, we're not. We're not.
No,
We're just
not.
telling you that this is a sign. If you're still here, this is like 50 an hour long.
Yeah.
Like you will not
regret.
You will not regret finding this. You will not regret watching this. Everything else doesn't really matter, but the fact that you're watching this is what matters.
It matters to me. Until next time, guys. Peace and many blessings to you guys. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time. Have a good one. Peace out.
Oh, I got pee.